Hey, what's happening, Longmont? This is King Penny, man. Hey, welcome to the first episode of Don't Act Different Now podcast. Hey, these cameras get hot, people start acting funny. Got one, coach. We're gonna go down the list, man. We got a couple of current events to talk about and local issues and stuff like that we want to address and just have an open conversation about it. Nobody's gonna be disrespectful. Nobody's gonna be attacking anyone. Just have a little open dialogue for the weekend, man.
You.
Hey, bro, hey, look here. You know, I'm old school. You meet me outside, we can figure this thing out. No, I'm joking. Hey, so let's go ahead and get this thing started, man. We'll start on the end, ma'am, with your name and what do you do for a living?
Sure. Hey, everyone. I'm Lily, and I am a criminal defense attorney.
Ooh, you flexed. Hey, that's how you started with a flex, don't you? All right, you're up after that, buddy.
I know, man.
you're up.
Yeah, my name's Chad, and I run a nursery. Like, we sell trees, like real trees. Real
Like-
trees.
The things that hang on your mirror in the car?
No, like trees. That
He said real
Like,
trees.
like,
plant in the
like,
ground.
like, oh, cannabis or like?
No, like trees.
You smoke all kinds
You know,
of trees?
like, have you heard of a maple?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sapsucker. All right. Hey, my name's Penny. I guess I spot people for a living. You know what I mean? Like I changed weight. Hey, it's a whole story. We'll get into that another time. Go ahead.
My name is Carter, and I'm an accountant in the real estate industry.
Ballers. Hey, look here. Well, not you, Chad, but hey, you two, let me borrow something. Hey, look, you need a cosign on something. Look at it. He didn't want to say it.
Recently just graduated with a master's, too.
Hey, congratulations.
Congrats.
Hey, now that's a flex.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Hey, he flexed on me. Hey, y'all gonna talk about degrees later or something like that. Hey, so first issue I want to talk, man, is let's talk about the modern dating scene. Like, you know what I mean? The local dating scene or what happens on the internet nowadays. Because I think most people meet online.
Yeah.
That's the thing nowadays. And I just want to throw it out there that these females don't look like these filters they be using. And I don't want to be the guy.
Yeah.
You know, like, I've seen a couple of them in person, and I'm just like,
Well, guys got filters, too.
do they?
Yeah.
Do
Yeah,
guys
you-
use filters
Yeah,
too?
you
They
go,
do?
You go in the gym, you're wearing your stringer, you get a nice little pump going on, you take a picture with good downlighting, you know, you just look as perfect as you
Jesus
can.
Christ, he's a pro.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
I have never even...
I don't look like that whenever on like the rest of the 23 hours out of the day.
I mean, I guess it's not totally surprising because you do see
no.
guys now who like do their eyebrows.
Oh,
and
yeah.
who are-
Stop right there. Because he's not talking about a filter. You're talking about just having a pump and taking a picture.
Well, yeah, but you don't look like that the rest of the day.
Oh,
So
that's
so
different.
he's equating it to a
no,
filter.
no. You can't count that a pump picture.
I'm not saying I'm not.
No,
so,
but look,
That's
a lot of
fine.
the
let me
women.
clear my position. I'm not saying it's as bad as how crazy some of the filters can be, but it's still the same idea.
Okay, I get
A lot
you.
of the women, filters aside, right? Like a lot of women have learned to do their makeup to just completely change their faces,
Yeah.
regardless of any filter, right? Like a lot of women do all the contouring and they can change the shape of their nose and their jawline and their cheekbones and everything, right? So they look completely different without makeup.
So we figuring out who's gonna cape for women right now. We'd already established that one, huh? Like,
I'm not.
Hey, she just
I wouldn't.
Hey, a lot of women.
I wouldn't call that. I wouldn't call that caping. I don't.
I don't
how
know if
is
it's
that?
caping. It's kind
Yeah,
of a
it's kind of
necessity.
calling-
It's like,
is it a
it's
necessity?
Survival of the fittest, or whatever. You know, you gotta look
the
better
one-
than everybody else out there, right?
I guess.
If there
You
is
know?
if there is any sort of justice for people who like manipulate pictures and stuff like this, if you pay attention, you really pay attention on social media. A lot of them end up single for a long time.
Right. Yeah, I can
bro.
see that. Yeah, I mean,
Analytics over here.
Well, I mean, because imagine you're putting out a false product, right? What is going on inside for you to have to put out a false product to begin with? You know?
Could be incentivized. Could be incentivized financially.
I mean, it could be incentivized by a lot of different-
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans, you know, and even you know, you and I, we see it in the fitness industry. You know, people that manipulate their pictures for supplement sponsorships. They never even meet their boss. They just get a discount code on their email, and then they post it on their social media.
Hey, look here. Ain't that what they say on Players Club? Got to get
That's
your
males
money.
and females, by the way.
Yeah, true. So how does that equate in the dating scene? How is that? So you have this person over here and this person over here. Why is there I would say a disconnect. between males and females at the moment? Can I?
Oh, I can
Yeah,
tell
go
you.
ahead.
Like
Can I
my
say that?
experience is so. Me and my son's mom split up like 8 years ago, and I didn't date. I didn't do nothing because I got on those dating apps, and it just felt so foreign to me because I always met girls out and about doing
Right.
things, but then I had a little kid, so I wasn't out and about, and I don't know. I tried the apps, and I never liked it. I never liked how my pictures looked. I never liked who was hitting me back, and I'd go out and I would get catfished or whatever, and I just gave up on it. I was just like, fucking, I'm gonna be single, and I was like super happy for 7 years, just single, not dating anyone.
I can't really speak to the dating scene. Like I mean, the dating. So I was on a dating app for like 2 seconds, like literally like 2 weeks, and it is not only is it foreign, but like it's really easy to sound good on paper, right?
Right.
You're like kind of swiping through resumes almost.
Exactly.
And I need to meet people organically. Like I need to be able to be in the same room as you, kind of feel your energy, your vibe. Like, do we connect when we have a conversation? Shit, even something as silly as like someone's voice, right? Like I remember I had on the dating app, like we moved from the messaging to a phone call, and as superficial as this may be, like as soon as I heard
Yeah, like Mike Tyson.
no, like as soon as I heard a dude's voice, I was
broke my
like,
back.
I can't.
Spinal.
This is not a voice I can rock with long term. Like I
Off a voice.
I mean, but like it's the same as people having mannerisms or
It's just certain-
habits,
yeah.
tics that you just can't really get with,
So where,
right?
so,
Like it's
so,
all
so-
part of.
So speaking of organic grocery shopping, no, I'm joking. where can you meet somebody at organically nowadays? Where are you meeting somebody?
spots.
Outside of Walmart. Hey, Walmart is the spot. I ain't even gonna lie. I ain't even gonna hold you.
I told you I was single for 7 years, and it's not.
I mean, I think that's
It's
part
not
of the
that
problem.
I wasn't trying. I don't know. I wasn't really trying, but I don't know. Like when I was that age, I was 30 years old now, right? So now you're out at the bar, and the girls that are your age are kind of a mess, especially if you see. I don't know. I'm sorry.
No comment.
A lot of them are kind of a mess, and
Double take. He doubled down on it like, yeah. A lot of them
are kind of a mess. And I don't know.
Can we say instead of a mess, some of women of a certain age are maybe upset.
Yeah.
Or just, and I would say bitter, but I'm gonna hold back on going that far. But I would say I will rewind that, but I would say upset. They've already kind of been through a kind of a serious relationship already.
Yeah.
They've probably come out of that.
And I went through
And
my
they
shit,
still are holding on to a lot of
Yeah.
just angry about that whole situation.
Right.
And I think that going forward, it's hard for them to kind of let that guard down.
Right.
Well, that's tough though, because the one thing that you kind of have to keep in your mind is who is your audience whenever you walk into a bar, especially if it's like a really high-end club. It's loud, a lot of music, a lot of dancing, because you're dealing with people who like the party scene. They probably like to drink. They probably like different recreational drugs.
You really walk in there and are like, who's my audience?
Well, I always think about that.
Well, Chad walks in the place talking about where my ops at.
But listen, like, look.
No, I'm just playing.
But so that's one thing to think about, is that you're dealing with people who like the party scene. But then the second thing is, and call it what it is, I think a lot of women understand that if they're single and they're looking for other single men, they're going to go somewhere like a bar or club situation, but their intentions may not be 100% genuine. Yeah, I've seen so many different memes and reels that show up on my Instagram feed.
I don't think anybody's
girls talk about
intentions
like they got like 10 numbers,
genuine.
they got 15 free drinks, they got this kind of stuff. So you just have to be mindful of that. And this is kind of a personal story that I had, but I went to school at University of Colorado Boulder for my master's. It's more of a partier type of school.
Right.
Pearl Street's famous for all the different clubs and stores you can walk into. So I'm at Sundown Saloon. It's also known as
Scum down.
Chad used to be up in there, bro.
Most people call it the downer. And there's kind of this game that I'll play if I see like a woman that is attractive to me, but I know we haven't met before. I'll play this game. I'll say, hey, excuse me, have we met before? And it kind of gets them on the spiel if they like what it is that they see on me of like, maybe we go to the same school or go to the same gym or have the same hobby, like we hike at the same spot. So I went to this one particular individual, and she was with her friends, but it was clear the conversation was kind of dead, and she was like on her phone doing this kind of stuff. And I walk up to her and I do the same thing. I'm like, hey, excuse me, have we met before? She turns around and goes, I don't know who the fuck you are. And then goes and walks off. I'm like, hey, yo, I'm just trying to be respectful here. Like, how else am I supposed to approach you and show you my interest? Mm-hmm. So I'd say it's a tough crowd if you're going to be in a bar or club situation. There's several other different opportunities you can meet people, mostly organically. I think a lot of people say that you can only meet in the workplace now if you want to meet organically, which that's another can of worms to open. Or
church. I don't know.
Hey, you just started that career. Grand opening, grand close.
When me and him were your age, like, you just went out to the bar. Like, that's what you did to go meet.
I wasn't anywhere. I was at the gym minding my business.
No, he was at the bar. You were at the bar. Everybody was at the bar.
So
everybody
I'm sorry.
was at the
Don't
bar.
act different now.
Hey, Pete.
Don't act different
Pete,
now.
the car, come from behind the car. They got us, buddy.
I'm not pulling anybody's card or like saying anything bad. Everybody was at the bar. Like, that's what we did. We went
When
to
you're
the
young,
bar.
that's kind of what you do.
So right now, how can a guy approach you right now? Like, realistically.
I'll let her start, but I have a game that I play it's pretty safe, especially in like a gym situation, but go ahead.
So for me, I don't really go out like that. Like, I don't go to bars or clubs. So I feel like in most cases, if I were to meet someone who was interested in me, the approach wouldn't be initiated that way, right? So it's like either, like you said, work, not in the same workplace, but through work, or like if you have hobbies, right? So
picking up defendants.
I do not date my clients.
Working on a case.
I got you, bro.
No, but like you're in the field, so you meet other people in the field, so that's one way. Or like also mutual friends, right? So like let's say you have friends that do dinner parties, or you get together and do stuff, and maybe through a mutual friend you meet someone.
Or you got that friend just wants to go out and get ratchet with you.
But I can't imagine, like, I'm not even sure really how I would act right now if I was just, I don't know, let's say at a restaurant and like some dude just walked up to me and tried to talk to me.
No,
I feel like it would be kind of awkward for me.
Right.
But the one thing though is that there's a lot of people these days that don't have mutual friends because people move a lot more now. I just moved here about almost a year ago now. And besides some family members, I really don't know that many people here. So that's not always an option for some people.
That's surprising. You be at a busy gym though.
Yeah, because the gym that I just got to, I've only been there for about 3 or 4 weeks now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And you have to be very careful in a gym situation because at the college I went to in my undergrad, I would, try to talk to girls and meet girls, get their Instagrams, maybe go out, maybe they're going to a club, something like this. And throughout the time, I would meet people that I didn't click with, or they were just not interested in me, or sometimes, call it what it is, and people just took offense to you giving them that kind of attention, where I got outed. I was talking to this one girl I was interested in, and she's like, hey, are you still talking to my friend over there? I'm like, oh, no. So I got outed. So you got to be careful with that.
I know. I feel bad for, like, you and your generation, like, not growing up like when we did and just, all this shit just on the phone. Like, you're just on the phone doing everything on your phone. You're not making, like, any sort of real connection with somebody in real life, in real time. I don't know, it's hard. Like, that's why I can't do it. That's why I'm never going to have a Tinder account or anything like that.
And also, too, another thing, man, is, bro, what is a texting relationship? Like, everybody just wants to text nowadays. And, hey, look here, ain't nothing happening. Like, I can't do it. And I'm not going to sit here and have a whole conversation with you through text.
Well, and that's kind of the same thing as the dating apps, right? Because, again, since you're not actually talking to a person, you're not seeing a person, what are you really like? You're just typing words on a screen, you know, like it really doesn't tell you, in my opinion, it doesn't really tell you much about the person.
I think the problem. I think.
Well,
Go ahead.
I think it's a good way to wear a relationship out or a potential relationship out. Like you meet this person and then, you know, so I met somebody that's quite a bit younger than me, and we were, you know, like she just wanted to text all day and text and text and text, and that's just not my style.
You can't keep up.
And yeah, you can't keep up, and you know, it was a big detriment to the relationship. But at the same time, I'm like, if we're just gonna not have anything to talk about when we see each other later too, you know, it's just, I don't know, it's just hard to just be on that phone all
the
damn
time.
day.
Yeah.
Like you need, it's good to have your own time and your own space to do whatever, you know.
Definitely.
It's definitely not fun. I think that why you're seeing that out of kind of the new generation as far as Gen Z goes is we're kind of, I'm in the Gen Z category at the like right where it started, and the message that's kind of being delivered, it's kind of, it's almost like freeing, but almost a stab in the back at the same time, because the message that's kind of being told to us now is, you know, a nihilistic standpoint of like, you know, your life is like unimportant, you know, nobody's going to remember you after 150 years, you're going to die anyways, you know, God's not going to save you, religion's not going to save you, but at the same time, you only have the life it is that you have now, so go ahead, be free, do whatever it is that you want to do, you know, make your money, find your own self-fulfillment. And where that shows in dating is people think, I got to have it all or I got nothing, you know, as far as their standards for relationships go. And then with the kind of the hyper connectivity of social media, it's easy to meet people all over the globe. So you're gonna have people that are gonna be gunning for, you know, the top 1% of 1% of beauty, of looks, of social status. So those people are getting a lot of the attention on the top, when otherwise below, nobody's looking at people that are comparable to each other, who can actually relate to one another. Yeah, I know.
And I don't even like get involved in that.
I know so many girls that are like
also, you know,
19, 20, 21, 22, and then they get flown out to like the next town over to meet some 35, 36, 37-year-old who really doesn't even care about them. They just they want to hook up with a younger,
young girl,
more beautiful individual, but they think that's genuine. It's absolutely
What's it called? Flued out? You want to get
flued out?
grooming.
That's what you went with that? How does it, what's it called? Hey, how did you young guys come up with the word Riz? I don't get it, bro. Like we're like, what does that have to do with game? Period.
I don't know.
I think it's a new word for swagger.
Yeah,
like,
it is. It's just
Riz.
Yeah,
it's like swagger didn't.
The only way how that I can
like
define
it was a word.
is
To make it a whole new word.
I think the only way you can define that is
isn't that what
confidence
happens in every
with
generation?
like your assertion of yourself.
Yeah. No, I just thought when you said
Like,
just,
do
It's a
people
dumb
really
word,
say
though.
that? Like,
Yes.
yeah, they say it.
Yes.
Really?
So
not
what
fair.
I don't know, what are people looking for in modern dating? What are people looking for?
Like your age.
Are people
What
looking
they
for,
you know?
and don't, not just you, because you
Sure.
might fit a different category, but like, what are people looking for? Are people looking for relationships? Are people looking for something long term?
It sounds like you are.
Well, that's why I said not just him, you know, his
Yeah.
age group.
Yeah.
I think people my age are open-minded to how that things go, but they want someone who fits their mold of their life so perfectly that it kind of turns them away from any like long-term dating experiences, or because of that mindset that we kind of get fed, they're always looking for the next person.
Well, it is like you guys
The better person.
You guys can customize your life to like what you're exposed to, more so than we. You know, like when we were younger, we had cable TV and the internet was just barely blowing up. So there was only a limited amount of things that we could watch to entertain us. You guys can, if you want to watch something about something all day long, you can do that between YouTube and Instagram and the internet. You know, it's hard. Like when you narrow your mind that much, then you're limiting other people that have other opinions or interests and stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, on top of that too,
I don't know if I
and I'm
articulated
sure we'll
that
get into
well,
this, but there is such a philosophical split in the political parties now, where that even cuts your dating market even closer.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you don't agree on philosophical ideas of how that life should go, your relationship is never going to work with that person.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's true regardless, right? Like if you don't have common ground in terms of how your life should go.
I've seen relationships work that they don't share the same political views.
I'm not talking about politics.
What's the old girl that
Well,
was
no.
Trump's
I'm not talking
Conway,
about politics.
Kellyanne Conway, and her husband?
Yeah, her husband.
He hated Trump.
I'm not saying politics. That's why I said regardless of the political ideologies, because he specified that. I'm saying on a foundational basis, right? If you don't share the same philosophy with your partner in as far as what your life should look like in the long term, forget political ideology, just the same philosophy on what your life should look like. That'll never work. You can't really generally have an idea what your life's gonna look like. Life changes all the time. Of course,
but if you have somebody who already knows that, guess what? Okay, I'm an entrepreneur. This is how I get down. This is how I rock, and they can be fluid with that. Then a long-term relationship would work.
That's easy to say, but you don't know that when you're young. So you're right that you can't know always what your life is going to look like. But you might have a general philosophy of what you hope or what your goals or what you would want to work toward. For example, a person who wants kids and a person who does not want kids, can the relationship work? I mean, somebody's going to be really disappointed. Right, and somebody will likely end up having a lot of resentment, harboring, bitterness.
That's the exact example I was going to use, because people who usually vote more towards the left, less likely to have kids, less likely to want kids. People that vote more towards the right, more likely to want bigger families, have children, grandchildren, more of a nuclear family type of mindset.
That I'm not too sure about.
Yeah,
that I do not know.
Yeah,
no,
that's not true for me.
I agree with you. I agree with you in that sense. I mean, the right. I didn't really know how. I didn't really want to get into politics about this. The right is all about the nuclear family and Jesus and all of that, and that's.
I don't know if they're all about Jesus, but I think they pander to that audience more.
Correct.
Oh, hell yeah, they pander to that audience. I mean.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I have some views that they have. Also, I share some views that they have on that side.
I bet you do.
But like I said, man, like everybody is on their own path. Like even right now, this situation with Donald Trump. What's your thoughts about that? With all these indictments, or nobody wants to touch it?
I don't know.
Look, because I
don't know if they're even worth the shit anymore. You know, it's.
I think that there's good evidence that a lot of the crimes that he's committed are 100% factual.
Right.
But I think that it's kind of a case of point.
It took so long and just seemed so.
Well,
I don't know.
I don't know that it's so much that
Democrats are such fucking pussies.
Hey, bro,
sorry.
First of all, I don't think it's an issue that it took so long. This is the way the feds work. So to your point, right? When the feds bring a case, generally speaking, it has been already, like by the time they bring an indictment, it has been thoroughly investigated. You've got cooperators, you've got statements, you've got recordings.
That's why I don't think the investigation was a Democrat-driven investigation, because if it was the Democrats like forcing this investigation, they would have tried to get things out a lot sooner. And not be,
I mean, I think it's just something that takes time. I think it's something that generally speaking takes time. So for me, right, and obviously this is a very unique case, but just when I get a federal case in general, drug cases, they go years back. Yeah. Right? They take their time to build a case, which is why the federal government has such a high conviction rate.
90-something%, ain't it?
Right, because like I said, by the time they bring charges, they have built their case, and oftentimes they've spent a lot of time building their case.
So I have a lot of mixed feelings about that. So just like a month ago, like 2 houses down from where I live, the Lafayette police raided this house because these guys were running a chop shop and a meth. They were cooking meth and all this and that. but they like let them do it for like a year. And it's like, so in a year, you just let them keep doing this for a year, like keep hurting people, keep stealing cars.
The charges
for
are
that
severe.
long, you know? For
Yeah,
that,
it's a good
like,
point.
that's,
It's a good
you know,
point. It's a good point. You knew what
that
these
makes
people were doing,
you knew
and
what they were doing
you
for
let
a
them
long
do
time,
it.
but you let them keep doing it for a year.
The thing
Well,
with-
but it's
You're
playing
like-
the long game.
Yeah,
right?
I know,
You got to play
but
the
I
long
know,
game.
like-
If you want to bring a solid case, and especially if you're talking about people that you want to put away for a long time, which
Right,
I don't
right.
support super long sentences to
Right.
begin with, but if your objective is to get this person off the streets and put them away for a long time, you don't want to get them on some nickel and dime
No,
stuff. You don't want to.
Everything.
I hear what you're saying,
But
and
at
it's
the same
true.
time, like if I was that
How much-
person
how
that
much
got
harm-
my car stolen and I didn't get any resolution for it for over a year.
Sure, yeah. How much
You know,
how much harm
like,
has
I'm
been
like,
done
damn.
during
But
that
at,
time?
the,
Yeah.
but at the same time, if somebody's getting charges brought on them every other day or every week, at some point you got to really think what's really going on here. Instead of them just rolling the case out. Like,
Well,
wait,
they
like,
weren't getting
Well,
charged.
I think it's
hear
putting
me.
But
pressure.
Instead of putting the case out the way it is, it seems like more and more every week, okay, we're going to charge him with this. He says some dumb stuff. Oh, man, this guy or whoever the prosecutor is, he says some dumb stuff about him. Next week, we're going to press these charges against him. At some
looks
point,
retaliatory.
At some point, it starts to look like, hey, look here, what's really going on here? What is really because if you don't want him to run again, how about we just come out and say this? Or
Look,
if you,
well,
you know what
no,
I mean? Like,
no,
or
because that
if
doesn't
that's-
matter.
No,
That
but
doesn't
I'm
matter
just
if
saying.
they want him or don't
No,
want
but
him
I'm
to
just
run
saying
again.
though, if that is like, you know what I mean? Because the way you're rolling it out seems like every week you are trying to pin him further into a corner rather than just come out and just say,
Well,
look here, this here.
So I think that's true. So number one, I think that people's minds are already made up
Yeah,
about Trump.
exactly.
I don't think the indictments make a difference on how people feel about Trump. His supporters are going to support him no matter what, and they're going to see the indictments, and they're going to see the frequency of the indictments and the increasing number of indictments as a witch hunt. They're going to see Trump as a victim. And that's not going to change, whether it's one indictment or
And
two.
he will rob them for their own money to build his campaign, to make commercials that say
I want to wrap this part of the conversation
Okay.
up.
All right.
Who wins, Biden or Trump?
I mean, right now they're neck and neck. Actually,
Who
I think they're
wins?
like 48.
Can we get a definitive winner?
Biden.
I'm afraid that I think Trump will win, to be honest with you, and that scares me.
I think we should consider Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s current.
You would bring up an.
No, so Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He's running for president as a Democrat. He's getting a lot of traction because he's been on MSNBC, CNN, and Fox, and a bunch of different podcasts. And he's running on kind of a different take than what the current administration is, or what Trump is running for, or DeSantis. So I have no idea, and it's going to really come down to a wire, especially going into next year. You're gonna see
But
a
I
lot of
mean,
activity.
so right now, anyone else that's running is
Done.
trailing far behind either Biden or Trump, right?
Yeah.
So in terms
Which
in
is
terms of
so
any
crazy,
primaries, does any other Democrat really have a chance of winning the
don't know.
Democratic nomination?
So the
I don't know
other
why
thing to think about is that a lot of these mass media companies, they want you to think that because a lot of times they donate to those particular campaigns, whether it be for Trump or for Biden.
Some of them donate
Robert
to
F.
both
Kennedy,
parties.
DeSantis, they don't have the type of funding that both of them have.
All right. Okay. All right.
No.
But I mean, like I said, man, if it was a choice between these two, right?
Just Trump or Biden.
Yeah, I know you're trying to be on the RFK campaign trail. We're gonna get you there. We're gonna get you there, buddy. You know what I'm saying? Hey,
Go volunteer, then you might meet some
it'll-
like-minded
It'll
young
be,
women.
It'll be Joe.
Joe.
Yeah.
You think Joe? I'm afraid. Like,
I
I'm afraid
think-
it will be Trump.
I
There
think
are
people
Afraid
are.
it will be Trump, and then he's going to get rid of the
There are too many-
two-term limit.
There are too many conservatives that I know who vote for Trump and now cannot stand him, especially after the 2020 insurrection, all
Right.
of that stuff. They
Right.
do not like him anymore.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
But that's some
What
smart
about you?
conservatives.
Who, me? Oh man.
I know a
look
lot
here.
of dumb conservatives that are just like Trump or die.
I think there are just dumb people across the board.
Right.
But
Well,
Yeah.
the other thing is that a lot of people live in
He
rural
said, I think
areas
it's dumb people
where
right
they
now.
don't have the
What
voting
about
power
you?
like the big cities do.
Yeah.
Hey, so recently here, there's been a slight uptick of
No,
COVID.
no.
It's like
I
COVID.
asked you a question.
What happened?
What about you?
me?
Who do you say? Who do you choose? Who do you think will win?
Yeah.
Oh
you gotta
man,
answer too.
hey, well, I think so. Me personally, and this is just my honest opinion. And you know what I mean. I don't want city of Longmont to hold this against me. You know what I mean. I'm just what you call. I support whoever the people.
No.
Oh, come on.
No. You got to take a position.
You have to.
No, the same way
Well,
you're
nah,
making.
just so the position.
Don't be afraid of the mic. With the
If
microphone.
it's just these, don't act different now.
So my position is this, right? I because I have and I didn't want to open this up because I have a whole about it. I think there needs to be age limits put in place on this stuff.
Who doesn't?
I feel very strongly that an
Listen,
80-something,
this is-
hear me, that a 70, 80-something-year-old should be making
Okay.
decisions for me when I don't even know what Riz is and he's like 20 years younger than me.
This is a
So
very
hear me.
this.
So hear me.
this is a simple
So hear
question.
me. So hear me. So I don't believe, me personally, I don't believe that Biden should be president.
Regardless,
So-
the question is, who do you think would win?
And so the thing about it is,
Yeah.
I think neither one should.
No, the question was not
no.
who should
Trump,
win.
That's not
Who
who
do you
yeah,
think
it's not
would
should.
win?
You
Who
just
would
answered.
Wow.
Got that around.
But here's the thing, because you're not going to get out of it so easily. So until you give an answer, we will not be moving on.
All right. So I think personally, if the election was to go down, whatnot like that, I think Trump got action.
I think so too.
So you think Trump wins?
I think
think
that
so.
Trump wins.
Okay.
I do.
Thank you.
Your opinion is neither right or wrong because at the end
We're
of the day,
speculating.
we're
I mean-
speculating on the entire U.S. voting population.
Sure.
Well, the thing, and like I said, the thing about it is, I think that these charges only heighten his base, and
For his base only, though.
Yeah, but
it doesn't.
that's what
These charges don't.
No, hear me. That's like 70-something million Americans, and you got
But
you got a
but
whole
the
bunch of
same way-
Americans that don't vote. And so guess what? If you decide not to show up and vote for Joe that day, guess what?
No, but
You gotta-
see,
he
here's
got
the
action.
thing.
I
Here's the
did read
thing.
something that there is a huge amount of people that voted, a huge amount of old white people that voted for Trump in 2016 that probably
Wouldn't
won't
vote
be
for
healthy
him
enough to they're either dead or they won't be healthy enough to vote for him
let's
again.
not. We're gonna move. Hey, look
All right,
here.
speed up, speed
Hey,
up.
yeah, man. Like
Right.
you talking about.
We're
hey,
going around circles
Are we
now.
talking about Nick
yeah.
Cannon?
So
or
no,
what
we're not talking about that. So recently there's been an uptick of COVID cases here in Colorado.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I want you guys to throw some feedback out there as far as like vaccinations, anti-vax, or should there be another booster? Should there, you know what I mean? Don't
know,
dance now.
So I'm definitely not an anti-vaxxer. I'm vaccinated.
I'm vaccinated.
I do think that at this point, number one, I think that we all have to accept that COVID is something we have to learn to live with, just like the flu.
Yep.
That's exactly what I thought when all this was coming out in 2020, because flu cases dropped almost zero and COVID cases spiked. And I was talking.
I don't think
I
that
was talking
in
with the family members.
2020, I don't think that in 2020 it needed to be treated like the flu because it was far more deadly. But I think that now, after 3 years of going through this and 3 years of data and death rates, and I think the death rate is very, very low. And I think that it's something that we kind of have to learn to live with.
So
People
no more lockdowns if this thing gets crazy.
No, more
Absolutely not.
lockdowns. Absolutely.
I just don't.
No, but I'm just saying,
So,
if this thing
okay.
gets back crazy, no more lockdowns.
It won't happen.
That's the thing.
Regardless-
Okay, can we
can't stand
hold
it
on?
anymore.
No,
Let
but
us speak.
no,
Let
but
us speak.
regardless
I
if
hear
you
you.
think it
Let
doesn't
us
happen-
speak.
Ladies first, ladies
Let
first.
us speak. Let
Yeah,
us
because
speak.
you be saying.
No. So let us speak. So number one, if I agree, I don't think it's ever going to get COVID. Maybe something else down the road, but COVID, I don't think we're gonna see another 2020.
Yeah.
If we did with COVID, if we did see another 2020, then yes, I would think that everybody needs to kind of scale back. If that many people were dying, if it was that deadly all over again, but I think at this point, immunity has built up, people are vaccinated, people have caught it. most people have caught COVID, vaccinated or
Whether
not.
they know it or
most
not,
people
yeah.
have.
Vaccinated or whether they know it or
and
not.
whether they know it or
Yeah.
not. But even those who know it, like most people have caught COVID at this point. I was lucky enough that for me, like I caught the flu last year, and the flu was way worse for me than COVID was. COVID, I woke up feeling like kind of off. My body felt a little heavy for half a day. I slept, and the rest of the time I was good. I know that that's not everybody's experience, right? But for me, the flu hit me like a fucking truck last year. Like I was laid out for a few days. So, you know, I think we're at a point now where it's not as deadly as it was. It's not affecting people as severely as it was.
Right.
And so do we need all of the extreme restrictions? No, I don't think so. I think people are going to continue doing whatever they're comfortable with.
And we need to trust people that are in danger, you know, or not, if they're in danger of being affected by it, they need to take the precautions that they need to take.
Right. Correct.
Like,
Well, it's not just on them though. It's on all of us to protect. You know what I'm saying? One another at the end of the day.
We could all do
even though you
common
need
courtesy
extra
things.
precautions,
Right,
yes.
right.
You know
But
what I
we
mean?
can't know, right?
Yeah,
we can't know that you
but-
are particularly
it's-
vulnerable.
But at the same time, I can do things to try to keep
Yeah,
from
exactly,
infecting.
exactly,
I can carry myself
exactly.
in a way not to infect you if I
I
come
can
around you.
Of
sanitize
course,
my
if
hands.
I'm sick-
enough
You know what I
and
mean? I can
things
do
like that. Yes,
everything.
exactly,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Well,
Everything
no,
else that is-
moreover, right? If I'm
But-
sick, I'm staying home.
Exactly.
Like, I think one big thing that has changed because of COVID is that, like, people used to go to work and school sick all the time,
a
right?
lot of
Like,
those
unless
sick
you were
pay.
dying,
Yeah.
unless you
Right.
were vomiting, unless you
Right.
were, like, laid out, like, you still went to work, you still sent your kid to school. Some people still do, but I think that happens a lot less now. I think people are much more cognizant now.
Well, and I think a lot of those
being
benefits
like,
start
that-
wearing out
if
soon
you're
too. They're
sick-
not. They expire.
That was an issue with
the
with
benefits
American
do,
culture.
but I mean, I think people's mentality has somewhat
Yeah,
shifted, right?
that's
Like
true.
some people are never gonna go back to blowing out a candle on a birthday cake.
Right.
Some
right.
people began
Right.
to
Some
see
people
that
shouldn't
as
have never been.
some people should have never.
Should have never.
No. And there are people who always thought it was disgusting, right? But I mean,
Right.
some people will never go back to that. And I think some people, like, you know, my daughter grew up in, you know, my daughter's 10. She grew up in COVID, and she's very aware of not just COVID. Like, if she's sick, she's like, no, Mom, I'm not going to go play with the neighbor. I might get him sick. And similarly, if someone's sick, she doesn't want them around her because she doesn't want to get sick. And if you tell her, well, honey, you don't have COVID, she's like, so what? I don't want to get sick. You know what I mean? Which is kind of like, why didn't we think that way before? Like, why did we go to work or school coughing and sneezing all over the place and getting everyone else sick?
Right.
Why don't employers want you to stay home when you're sick rather than coming into the office and infecting everyone and ensuring that more people are going to call out sick instead of coming to work?
Well, that was a workplace cultural issue in the United States that we were 50 some odd years behind. You go to certain countries in the European Union,
Right.
and they have several days off out of the year, multiple months on end, and sick pay and stuff
Right,
like this.
right.
So COVID just triggered a cultural response that we were lacking on that was already starting to change a little bit. But as far as
so lazy
as far as the
everywhere.
COVID situation goes, I think whether you're pro-vax or anti-vax, I think the vaccines, most people can agree, were not as effective as were marketed or as advertised.
I
got the
don't
first
agree with
vaccine,
that.
And I got a booster, and I got COVID, and I got
Right.
pretty sick for 2 days.
Right.
But just 2 days.
So I had
You know?
I had the original COVID in October 2020 before I was vaccinated, and to be honest, all the symptoms that I had was I had a slight fever and not the chills, but like muscle shakes.
Yeah, that's what I had too.
And I went to work the next day while I was sick. The only reason why I found out I had COVID was because my girlfriend, who I was with at the time, got it from me, got really sick, ran like 104, 105. We both get tested, we got COVID. So this is a harsh generalization, but I'll make it just for kind of the logical point as far as where we're at. I think COVID, the original strain anyways, has killed the people that it was going to kill. And the new strains that are coming out now, and it's been proven in the literature that most of them are weaker and weaker and weaker.
Right. They've gotten weaker and weaker and weaker.
Let's go ahead and we're gonna take a break here, man. Hey, anybody whose family suffered during COVID or who lost someone, man, like,
It's tough.
yeah, it's tough,
really
man.
hard.
You guys stay strong and stuff like that, and hopefully, like I said, it doesn't come back around, man. And hopefully, if it does, the powers that be, make good choices, better choices, and we come at it from a better angle, man.
I think a lot of people are as Liz was talking about, a lot more cognizant of their health now compared to previously.
Yeah.